night, with the Clippers down 2 points at halftime to the Suns, the TNT crew was having a discussion about the Clippers, and Charles Barkley had plenty to say about the team and organization. And even after Paul George dropped 33 points and pulled off the win, Barkley still doubled down. Take a listen to the comments.
Do you think the Clippers are a contender?
No.
Or pretender?
Pretender.
Pretender. Why pretender?
At this stage of their career, Kawhi has won 2 championships. Paul George is an all-star. If I got them 2 guys, then I bring in Ibaka, then I bring in Batum, I'm like, damn, what else do I need? So, no, I do not think I don't think they're contenders at all. I've been poor, I've been rich, I've been fat, I've been skinny, I've been old, I've been in the Hall of Fame, and one thing I can always tell you, the Clippers have always sucked.
Wow. Okay, Shannon, are the Clippers pretenders?
I know Charles Barkley has always been a fool, too. He's very funny. He's very good at what he does. Skip, for me, that's what Skip Bayless has taught me since I've been on the show. Nothing matters. I'm saying nobody cares about a Thursday night game. In April, who cares about Thursday night games in April when the playoffs really going to start in late May or early June? He also said that for you to bring Rondo in, when you got those other guys on your roster already for leadership, and I said it told me everything I needed to know. For me, Skip, it doesn't matter. I've seen Paul George do this. We saw him do it last year. Skip, remember, he missed the first couple of games, and then he came out the box, dropped 30, 35, 39, then another 37. So we've seen Paul George. Paul George one year finished third in the MVP voting. So I'm not surprised Paul George is an elite. He's a two-way player. I mean, a three-level player. He can shoot the three. He can get to the mid-range. He can drive all the way to the basket. 85, 88% free throw shooter. He can defend sometimes. So I've never questioned Paul George's ability. Now, maybe come playoff time, we don't see that level of consistency that we see in the regular season. But Paul George can play. Kawhi Leonard, he's been great in big moments, and then there have been other big moments that he hasn't come through. But, Skip, at the end of the day, you know none of this matters. It's championship or bust. And when you have those level of guys on your team, that's just like the Lakers. It's championship or bust. The Nets, it's championship or bust. The Clippers, they're one of the handful of teams. It's probably 3 or 4 teams, Skip. It's championship or bust. And the Clippers are one of those teams. So when it comes playoff time, I want to see Paul George go 7 of 9 from the 3. I want to see him take over the games like I've seen him take over games in the last month or so. That's what I want to see come playoff time. Not no meaningless Thursday night game against the Suns.
Okay, I hear what you said about Paul George, but I don't hear anything else that you said. And back to Charles Barkley. Mostly, he's the opposite of kiss of death. He's actually kiss of life. When he condemns you, you're probably going to win it all.
And
right?
if he says you go win it all,
right? Okay,
you done.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, he's been picking Portland. Right? Okay. So the irony of what Charles' point is that he's saying the mere fact that they needed Rondo shows you they're a pretender.
Right.
Because you would think that Kawhi, as a 2-time Finals MVP, and Paul George as a perennial all-star, would be enough to figure it out by themselves.
Right.
So why do you need Rondo, and then why do you need all the other pieces that you had to go get, Ibaka and Batum?
Batum, yeah.
The point is, they did need Rondo. The point is, they would not have folded against the Denver Nuggets up 3-1 if they had had Rondo to set their table, to set them straight in the locker room, to snap them out of it. And the reason last night, a Thursday night in April, mattered was because it was Rondo's coming out party for the team in the basement at Staples Center. It was sensational what he pulled off, because in 19 minutes, he scored 15 points and had 9 assists. And in the fourth quarter, Rajon Rondo had 8 points and 4 assists and did exactly what I told you he would now start doing for this team as he eased into their rotation. He doesn't start the games yet, but he will start, and he definitely will finish their games when they start to matter in the postseason. He will do for the Clippers what he did for your Lakers last year when he was the secret sauce for your Lakers. Yeah, you got LeBron, and yeah, you got AD, who just rose and shone in the postseason in the bubble. But you couldn't have won it without Rondo's contributions to me in games 2 and game 6 against Miami in the finals, because those were special games that he had.
Yeah.
Those were big games of big passes, big shots, big playmaking, big leadership, where he was the key ingredient at the end.
I'll give you that, Skip. He made big shots. I mean, shot clock running down. He's making big-time threes. He's driving the basketball. I think he had 19 points in the game 6.
He did.
So he's had the big moments.
Yep.
The way he plays in the playoffs. But Skip, at one point in time, even in the regular season, when he was with Boston, Skip, he'd go get 40. People don't realize Rondo once scored 40 points in a playoff game against the Miami Heat.
He did. Highly capable.
Yes.
Okay. So last night I sat back in awe because let me show you. Here's his first swoop to the hoop. And I hadn't seen this yet with the Clippers. And I'm thinking, is he an aging player? But here's the first time he just says, okay, watch this. I'm going to go. Yeah, okay. There was another one that was even better than that early on. But, okay, this is still this play. Let's go to the end of the game when he put the icing on the cake on Chris Paul. Okay, we're still doing. Here we go. This is Rondo right in Chris Paul's face. And this is a big shot. It's still reasonable. Like you thought Phoenix was still going to have a run in them because they'd had a bunch of runs in them. And that was like, sorry, that's game over. And then he hits Kawhi, if we could see this.
He did it a couple of times last year in the ball. But he's capable of, Skip.
That's him. And then here's to Kawhi. And this is just special Rondo right here. This is what he can do. That's just special. That's just Cincinnati. LeBron is obviously capable of that, but they didn't have this. They didn't have somebody who could set their table and put Kawhi and Paul George in position to make shots not off the dribble. So look what's been happening to Kawhi and Paul George this year. They're both averaging a career high in assists because they do it themselves.
Yeah.
They've been the point forwards for this team. Well, watch what starts happening. Well, he had 9 assists last night in a very short stint. Well, he'll start leading this team in assists, and they haven't had that. So Charles's point is wrong-headed. It's upside down because Rondo is just exactly what the doctor ordered.
They need a true point guard. Patrick Beverly is nice. Patrick Beverly is more of a defensive guy. Reggie Jackson is more of a 2. He's looking to score the basketball.
Yep.
Rondo can score the basketball, but he'd rather have 15 assists and 5 points as opposed to 15 points and 5 assists. So there's the difference between all. Pat Bev is not the level of offensive player from an assist standpoint that Rondo is. Reggie Jackson can score the basketball, but he's not the offensive mind that can get the offense set like Rondo can. So Rondo he's a better player than both of those guys, given what they need. It's going to take a lot off of the plate of Paul George, off of Kawhi Leonard. So now all they have to worry about, let me get to my spot, Rondo's going to give me the ball. I saw it last night. They were running the break, and it was just like a little touch pass. Rondo get it and just touch it right over the top, and it's an and one.
Okay. So I'm going to remind everyone, this team is leading the league in three-point shooting at 42%. They made 18 threes last night.
Well, yeah, you do that. Yeah, they're going to be contenders. You keep making 18.
But they've been doing it every night. They're 42%. Your team is ranked 23rd in the league in three-point shooting. The Lakers, they're 35%. This team, the Clippers, leads the league in free throw shooting at 84%. As a team, they're 84. LeBron by himself is 70%. So they're 84%. Your Lakers rank 25th in free throw shooting at 74%. That's going to bite you when it comes time to win playoff games because this is a three-point shooting league, and in the end, it's a free throw shooting
league. We're going to be ahead by so much it won't matter.
Okay, well, you better be because this team is coming for you. This team is built to beat the Lakers.
We saw what you did. You had a 16-point lead in the first half, and somehow by halftime, the Suns had the lead.
The Suns are really good.
They really good. We great. That's the difference between the two.
So all of a sudden, Paul George has sprung back to life, and he can score with anybody. I agree with your point. I'd like to see it when it matters.
Yeah.
But you're seeing, you saw it when it mattered a little bit on opening night against the Lakers. And it was an early statement game, and I know it was forever ago. It feels like it's 5 years ago, but it was on December 22nd. What did he do? He scored 33, but he scored 26 in the second half, and he wound up hitting 5 out of 8 threes. He hit 7 out of 9 last night. highly capable
Yeah.
of just blowing teams off the court with
Yeah.
his firepower because
Yeah.
he's 6 feet 8 inches tall.
Yeah.
And when he gets cooking, you just can't stop
Right.
it because you can't block his shot or bother his shot.
And when he ice cold, he be blowing layups
Okay.
and hitting side of the backboard.
Okay.
So which Paul George do you believe?
I want the Rondo Paul George. I want the guy that Rondo will keep in line, that will keep afloat, that will challenge Paul George and snap him out of his skunk funks that he falls into because it can get stinky.
So I'm glad you know that.
Well, it's obvious. But what I also know is this team is even deeper to me than the Nets, not in firepower talent, but just in basketball players. This team comes at you in waves.
I don't know about that, Skip.
Well, how do you not see that?
I mean, they're gonna have Claxton, they're gonna have Tyler Johnson coming off the bench, they're gonna have Blake Griffin coming off the bench.
Okay, but look at this bunch with Reggie Jackson. He can score. He can go get you 40 on any night. And Rondo's been coming off the bench, and Batum is going back and forth between. He's the glue of this team. Patrick Patterson is still a basketball player. Terrence Mann has had a coming out party as a real player, a contributor this year. And remember, Ibaka is not even playing right now, and he's 7 feet tall and can shoot threes, and he's a clutch shooter.